Hello there, welcome to Target Radio Podcasts. Yes, we have a podcast for your ears. Every week here on the show, on our live shows that is, we try and get an interesting persons, artists, band members, music, poets, film playwrights. We even get, we'll try and get everyone. We'll try and get everyone that's interested in our genre of music that we portray here on Target Radio. So what we do is sit them down, we have a telephone interview, sometimes a live interview, and we discuss all things in their profession. So stay tuned here. This one is an absolute blast. You're going to love this, and I'll be back at the end to obviously, tell you what's coming up in the very near future. I am the Podfather. I will now tell you that this is Target Radio Podcasts. Don't forget to check us out on iTunes, and if you think we deserve it, don't forget to leave us a 5-star rating. That would be rather nice. Thank you very much indeed. So over to me. Sit tight and enjoy. This is Target Radio. 5
Sunday,
4
Sunday,
3
Sunday night,
2
in his Sunday best.
1
Sunday,
go. You're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off.
Dear God in heaven, please let this show go okay, with no major boobs or goofs, or is it goofs? Please don't let me tread all over the intros of records, or say a naughty word.
So let's have fun.
Hello, hello, and welcome to the show. Hello, 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 welcome to the show.
Lock it on to the best station on the net.
First we take a groovy record, then we add a super sound DJ.
Oh, Sean Kirk.
The big DJ. The big DJ.
When do I get my badge?
The badges are on order. And a very good evening. Happy Valentine's Day. Yeah, we can't go out for a meal, so hopefully that we've all cooked steak, chips, onion rings. And if you haven't, shame on you. Anyway, good evening. Welcome along to the show. We're going to love it all up this evening. I know. So on tonight's show, I'm laughing already. I've no idea why. We got something from the Jam with the words "loving it." We got something from the Kinks, also with "loving it." We got the Yardbirds. You see where I'm going with this? Then I thought I'd spoil it all by playing a bit of Jilted John as well. Also on the show this evening. Oh, not one, not even two, but 3 impressive, beautiful guests. We got Isabelle and Phil Sorrell, or Sorrell. I've forgotten how to pronounce it, Phil. He's going to kick my jacksie, I know he is. And of course, the very talented Bill Newton. We're going to be talking and playing some brilliant tracks off the album Psykobilly, the Patron Saint of Nothing. I think he's talking about me. I've got some loved ones on there. Anyway, as usual, I do very little homework when I get to chat with my guests. And of course, I've spoken to Phil and Bill, but I've never spoken to Isabelle. So I'm looking forward to that. And of course, some great music leading up to around 7:30 this evening. Hopefully Bill's home from Bristol. Yeah, he's been doing the Bristol run. Take from that what you like. You dirty-minded lot. Anyway, it's Target Radio for the next couple of hours. Cookie here at the helm. Pressing all the wrong buttons and playing, hopefully, the brilliant tunes. As always, we can't start the show without something from The Who, so we thought we'd play something live. And of course, something with the word love in it. This is a Love Reign Over Me. And this is the part of the evening where I've got to press a couple of buttons. Hopefully, we've got Isabelle, Bill and Phil live on the show. Here we go. Right. This is, hopefully we've got Phil. And we're just waiting for two more before we start talking. I think Phil's fell over.
Hello.
Hello.
All right, we got Phil, and can we call you Izzy? Is that all right, Izzy?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic. And where is he? Is he still on the M4 or something?
Oh, Bill, God knows.
Bill, where are you, Bill? Come on, Bill.
Come on, Bill.
I'll tell you what, shall we start? And then
Yeah.
then if Bill decides that he wants to join in about his brand new album, then we might let him in. Ah, there he is. Hello, Bill. How are you?
Hi, Sean. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you fine and dandy. Just a little bit closer to the microphone or the computer if you can, please, sir.
Okay, that's like that.
We're there. And I think
I'll use the iPod.
iPod is good, iPad is good, and if failing all of that, we'll get some baked bean tins and long pieces of string. Okay, I think we all deserve one of these. All socially distanced, I tell you now. So with us this evening, we should have now Phil and Izzy Sorrell, or is it Sorrell? Sorrel. Okay, I was trying to politen it up a little bit there.
If you want to be posh.
We'll posh it up a little bit. And also we got Bill Psykobilly Newton with us. Hello, Bill.
Good evening.
Good evening. There he is. We've got all three of them. Right, so shall we dive straight into it, or should we just have a little chinwag first and find out how everyone is? So we'll start with the Sorrels then, and it's ladies first, I'm afraid, Bill. So pass it over to Izzy. Hi, Izzy. First time I've spoken to you.
I know. Hi, how are you?
I'm all right. And how are you, more importantly?
Well, yeah, no, I'm doing good.
Excellent. Now, you're in the sort of music business by hook or by crook.
Well, I'm kind of more so education sector. So I at the moment work for BIM, which is basically a music institute for popular music. So
Okay.
I like to conduct the auditions there. So a bit of a mini Simon Cowell, as you would like, if that's kind of
Love that. I love that analogy. That is absolutely fantastic. And do you have also an electric bike? Because if you do, get off it right now.
not an electric one. It's got petrol, but I've got a moped.
Oh, right, okay. And when you get a little older, you can transfer that into a scooter. There we go.
Well, there you go.
Phil will sort that out for you, okay? The difference between a moped and a scooter is vastly different, okay? I just want to get that out there right now. Phil, why we got you there, how are you, my friend?
Hello, mate. I'm good.
How was the move? Has it moved? Have you moved? Yes, you have, haven't you?
Yes, it was a nightmare, but it's...
Are you still unpacking boxes, my friend?
I've got, a few.
Yeah, I've still got a few as well.
We're building a live room which hasn't been built yet. So basically anything like mic stands and drums and things like that are in the control room.
Ah, gotcha. I'm still waiting to put pictures up on the wall in my studio, but I'm getting there.
Oh, it's a nightmare, mate.
Oh, tell me about it. The move itself is so stressful, isn't it?
I've decided I'm not moving from here again.
Tell me about it. I've lost all my hair and I've grown it back now because of lockdown, but I lost all my hair.
Lost hair as well.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? Right, over to Bill then. Bill, have you moved?
You can keep talking to Izzy and Phil if you want, Sean.
No. We're coming over to you now, my friend.
I haven't moved. No, I'm still in the same house. We've been living in the same house for about, 18, 19 years now, so quite settled, really.
Excellent. Yeah, don't move, or your hair will fall out. Phil and myself will testify that.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness me. So how did you guys first meet then? I mean, Bill, how did you meet Phil?
Well, I mean, Phil is renowned in the music business amongst certain unsigned artists as being the man to go to for a good production on a song, or an album. And
very cheap, right?
I did the first album with Smiley Barnard. We did a great job, as you know, and half of it was done by myself. And it was actually Tom Hilton over at Eldora Britain Records who suggested that I use Phil, because Tom kind of thinks that my sound is more so pretentious but cinematic and widescreen and a bit different. So, you know, and it was kind of a, you know, what's the word? I mean, it's all been true. It's like Phil and I had sex 9 months ago, didn't we, Phil? And a baby's been born. Yeah. And the baby's called the Patron Saint Of Nothing. That's kind of what's happened, really.
Wow. There you go. That's the album in a nutshell. We might as well all go home now.
That's it, yeah. It didn't last very long. The sex is still either.
Thank you very much indeed, Bill. So, obviously, the album itself, it's been long awaited. Obviously, I spoke to you when you'd done The Invisible Man, and that is a fantastic track, and obviously that appears on the album as well. So how long did it take to sort of get the album, all the tracks, and get everything into some sort of into place, and obviously onto the album itself, and in the sort of numerical positioning?
Do you want to field this one, Phil?
Yeah, I mean, what you mean, the track running order?
Yeah, basically, I mean, obviously getting all the tracks sort of laid down and then obviously putting them into some sort of numerical order, which sort of takes you on a journey, doesn't it?
Well, do you know, it's weird. It kind of came out that the order of them were almost the order in which we did them.
Okay.
Obviously, we did them one by one because I was doing all the instruments, and we decided the best approach was to complete each track at a time.
Yeah.
So it didn't really stray far from that, and I put them in an order. I sent that to Bill, and he tweaked it a bit, and basically that's how we came up with it.
Brilliant, brilliant. Izzy, let's go back over to you then. So what sort of, influence and what was your role within the album?
Well, what happens a lot with the stuff that I do with Dad is my dad. You're my dad.
Stop calling me Dad on the radio.
Oh, it's bringing in the viewers. Honestly, the listeners are there.
Well, you know, okay. Well, anyways, the stuff I do with Phil is that'd
be your dad then, yeah? That'd be your dad.
Yes.
Carry on. Sorry.
But, I often just put some backing vocals on there just to kind of give the track really a final polish, I guess.
Okay.
Cherry on the cake, I call it.
Wow. Well, something like that, if you can call it that. Yeah.
So just basically just give it a little polish up here and there with obviously your very lovely voice.
Thank you.
No, you're very welcome. No, credit where credit is due, because obviously, you know, you can get a little higher than Bill, I think.
Just a tad.
Just a tad, little higher. There we go. Bill, have you reached those high notes yet, my friend?
I haven't even reached the low notes yet. I mean, it's like, I mean, everybody who hears the album says the songs are pretty good, but Isabelle's voice is just, well, I mean, what can I say? It's absolutely phenomenal. And without Izzy's voice, the songs would not sound anywhere near. And I'm not just saying this, but come on, Dad, back me up here.
Mate, I taught her everything she knows.
Well, of course you did, Dad.
This is absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Right, okie dokie. So let's go.
A bit myself.
Indeed, absolutely. I mean, I've heard the album a couple of times now because obviously, it's difficult to listen to absolutely everything. But when you listen to an album, you think, I've got to listen to it again. That is really, it stands on alone on its own. Like, you know, you really, the first time you hear it, you think, right, okay, yep. You go through the tracks and you do it through the play order and everything. You think, do you know, I've got to listen to it again. I had to listen to it again straight after.
Those to me are the best albums.
Absolutely.
the ones where you don't quite get it the first time.
I don't think I got it the second time, to be
like
fair.
The fourth listen that you're going crazy about it.
Absolutely. I've seen so many sort of kind and, really good in-depth reviews on the album. And do you know what I do with those is I have a quick look for them and I think, right, okay, that's an individual listening to something individually. Whether they come up with good, bad or indifferent, I like to think that, like films and like, TV shows and going back to the cinematic presenting, I think personally music is a personal choice, a personal taste, and one person's review doesn't reflect on somebody else. So do you sort of agree with that, guys?
Absolutely.
Yeah, totally.
And yourself, Bill?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I first heard it, I thought, where am I going with this? I really didn't know. And that
that is the best kind of feedback I could ever hope to wish for.
You're very welcome, and it's well deserved because the album itself, obviously collectively by you three, has been put together very well. The tracks follow through very, very nicely. I don't know, is it telling a story or not?
Well, yes and no. It's not.
I knew you were going to give me a yes or no answer.
There's no overarching narrative of the album. I mean, every song, bar maybe two, is really personal. I ain't going to talk about the song's meanings. I think people should try and work it out for themselves.
Do you know, I totally agree with you.
Yeah, so I'm not going to give anything away. But there's a couple which are kind of more overtly political, and that should be fairly obvious. And a lot of people have said that they love the lyrics and they love what they think. And I've had 6 different people talk about, for example, Imposter Syndrome, track number 2, and they've all said different things about the meaning of it.
Right. Okay.
So to me that's just fantastic.
Absolutely.
That's a great song, though.
Well, great production, good interpretation by Caretaker.
Excellent.
Oh, stop trying to compliment me.
No, listen, Sean, can I just say something?
Yeah, of course you can.
Understand that the process of the album was pretty much. Can you imagine humming over the telephone a little tune to Ennio Morricone, and then within a couple of weeks, Ennio Morricone's given you this score. That's what it's like. I send Phil no more than my warbling voice with a guitar track and a click track, maybe a bit of piano, keyboards, and then Phil he turns that into something much bigger.
Well, I'll tell you what, just before we get into track 2, I think we should go through the album one by one. Obviously, I'm just going to play like a 30-40 second sort of snippet of each one starting from the beginning, just to give our lovely listeners there a little taster, if you like, a little flavour of what's to come. So what I'm going to do is just turn down my drum machine there and put this on.
Who are mad to live, mad to talk, mad to be saved, desirous of everything at the same time. The ones who never yawn or say a commonplace thing, but burn, burn, burn like fabulous yellow Roman candles exploding like spiders across the stars.
Now, just before we go into the music there, because obviously it's quite a powerful track, I'm just going to bring you guys back in a second. You've done it again, because obviously on The Invisible Man, you've got I think it's a film score, isn't it, you use, Bill?
Yeah. Oh, and dialogue, yeah.
And the dialogue, I should say, not the score. Now, you've used another dialogue there. Can I just ask where that's from?
That's it. That's an excerpt from On the Road by Jack Kerouac.
Brilliant. Let's go on.
Yeah.
I've got to tell you, the vocals on that sound absolutely brilliant, Bill, and I like it. It's really nice. It's catchy. It's bouncy. It's sort of how can we say, a nice introduction to the album, I think.
Well, I was going for something between Tony Bennett and Morrissey.
I think you might be onto something there.
No, I'm being deadly serious. It's kind of I think the first track is a bit of it's a bit of a misnomer because it's kind of an optimistic song,
Mm.
you know, and it doesn't really set the tone of the album brilliantly well because the album isn't necessarily optimistic, but that song is. And we thought, well, let's throw people started with something which is not miserable and not, you know, not deep, not too deep. So yeah, but I was going for kind of croony kind of Scott Walker, Morrissey, Tony Bennett, Frank Sinatra, harp sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's like I say, it's a bouncy sort of almost, dare I say it, Bill, cheerful.
Come on now, Dawn.
It's never cheerful.
Oh my goodness me, I'm so sorry I had to say that. But going on to track number 2 then, Imposter Syndrome. Obviously you mentioned that a few minutes ago. Imposter Syndrome, obviously I'm not going to ask you what it's about because we've already established that I think it's best to let the listener make their own minds up and everything. But where did all of these titles come from?
Well, I read a lot.
Uh-huh.
And I you know, work in mental health, and you know, I mean, when you think about, you know, people say, well, is this song about mental health? Well, isn't everything about mental health?
It could be,
all back.
Yeah.
If you strip everything back, it's all about mental health.
Yes.
Everything is about mental health, or emotional health, or psychological health. So every song is kind of touching on mental health, but it's personal to me.
Right.
And Imposter Syndrome is a recognised thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I don't really want to say too much about what it's actually about because it is personal to me.
No. I mean, obviously leave it there. And obviously working with these tracks, the Sorrells, what was your input on, you know, on each of these individual tracks that are coming through now, Izzy?
Oh, well, for me, it's mainly really the backing vocal side of things.
Mm-hmm.
What usually happens within the process of it is I'm really the final stage of the whole process where I get an almost fully realized track, and that gets sent to me, and I put my dust on it in my own room, basically, where with my own
we did a couple
stuff.
here.
There's a couple that's
not
been
here,
done here
at the old studio.
Yeah. Usually I do most of the recordings at Dad's studio.
Yeah,
However,
of course, yeah.
We had
I like
COVID
to tell
this
her
year.
what I want. She's got to do what she wanted this time.
Finally got to do a bit more of what I wanted, and usually what I wanted kind of worked. There'd be a couple of times where his edits would come in, but yeah. So there were good and bad bits.
Absolutely. And I mean, what's the process for you then? I mean, obviously, listening to the song a few times before you think, right, okay, well, I can lift it here, I can put something in here, put something in there. Is that generally what you have to do, Izzy?
I usually go by feeling of it. Yeah,
of course,
I go through the song a couple of times. When working with myself, when I'm not actually in the studio with Dad, I will kind of put the music together in chunks. So I'll just mark them as verse, chorus, and we'll kind of hear where I feel like an extra lift is needed. And that's not in all the places, you know, don't want to put too much of anything anywhere. So I kind of just try and put them in places where it is appropriate, I guess.
Excellent. And then obviously, Phil, yourself, then obviously you sort of oversee the sort of final production of that.
I've created the backing track.
Yes.
And it's the same sort of formula for me. You know, if I want a brass section on the chorus, I'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I always work it from what Bill sends me. I'll then put drums to. Then I'll put bass to it, and then I'll mix the drums and the bass together so that they're doing the same thing. And just build, and keyboards normally, and then guitar, and then sort of strings or brass or frilly bits at the end.
I love that frilly bits.
But,
final frilly bit.
On this particular song, she seriously changed it. It was fantastic. It was a really great job.
Well, let's have a little snippet of it, shall we?
And I'm not just doing that because she's sick. with a carving knife.
I gotta tell you now, Bill, that for me, I think personally, apart from The Invisible Man, that has got to be one of my favourite tracks on the album so far. But with this album, I feel that as soon as I think, well, I can pin it down to a couple of brilliant tracks there, it all changes again for me. So, for me, the question I'd like to ask you is, with the album, I suppose it plays on your feelings as well, and how you're feeling at the time listening to this masterpiece, I suppose.
Well, I wouldn't go that far to call it. Well, I think what's saying
You're so humble.
No, I'm just telling the truth. I mean, I'm not a singer. I write these songs.
Yeah.
Which are probably all right. I mean, I'm not totally stupid. I mean, the songs are okay, but it's the way that they transform. And Phil's right about Izzy. I mean, Izzy transforms. If you could have heard this song in its original form, it was just guitar and me singing. It's nothing ground-shatteringly brilliant, but the way that it's produced, and it is, vocals added to it, it just changed the game completely. It's kind of I kind of go more for feeling, honesty, passion, if I can say that. I'm not really into being technically perfect. My voice is never going to be perfect. There's always going to be bits where the note might not be held quite as well as it could be. I'm not a singer. I can't even talk properly, man. People tell me, So, but to me, that's not really what it's about. I mean, a lot of my favourite singers are not, classically trained. John Lydon, for example.
Oh, for goodness
Ian
sake,
Brown.
no, absolutely not. No, you're totally right there.
Stone Roses, Bob Dylan, Springsteen, even. They're not classically trained singers.
No,
but they've got passion. They're real people.
That's the difference.
That's all I'm really bothered about, is being real.
And I think you're being real to yourself as well by stating that and saying what you're saying right now. And I think that's why people sort of like lean towards you when it comes to this music, because you're just being true to yourself. You're not trying to be someone you're not. You're not trying to be, some sort of a radio superstar or anything else like that. You're being yourself. You're being true to yourself. And I think that shows through your music. And I think, Phil, you'll have to agree with that, I think.
Oh, totally. I love Bill's voice. He's it bugs me that he puts himself down, because I think he has a fantastic singing voice.
And I totally agree with you. I think he does. It's different, but it doesn't mean it's wrong. It's right. It's right for the style of music that he's producing
here. It's the passion and the sentiment that's put into it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Total believer in that with vocals. It's what the feeling you put into it makes it or breaks it.
And when you get a track over from Bill, and I mean, obviously we're going to play the Ballad of an Exile in a second, and again, obviously I'm not going to ask what it's about. I mean, obviously when you get the bare bones of this, do you have a sort of an image or a vision inside your own mind on how you'd like to sort of build on the song, how you'd like to incorporate, as you said before, with your bass line, your drums, and obviously then, as you feel fit, to put into sort of a brass or guitars?
Sean, with everything I produce, I listened to it once and I've got the whole tune of how it's going to end up in my brain.
Have you ever?
It's just a question then of actually playing the parts in.
Okay, right, okay.
I just hear it and think, right, string part there, brass part there, distorted guitar there.
Yeah.
And what sort of drums, heavy drums, light drums.
But I guess where that kind of changes for you is in the mixing process after, is where...
Yeah, I mean, it can adjust with the mix, but the basic track of how it's going to sound, I mean, this last one you just played is fairly electronic.
Yes, yeah, I heard that, yeah.
I heard that straight away, and I thought this needs to be quite electro.
Yeah, and we spoke about that before, Phil. Obviously our love for both sort of the new wave and electronic music that sort of started filtering in the late 70s and definitely into the early 80s. And I think we spoke about Kraftwerk and being the sort of pioneers of the knitting needles and things like that, And obviously your music, or the production of the music, along with Bill's, you can hear little bits of snippets of some late 70s, early 80s sort of music going on in there as well, I think.
Yeah.
So totally understandable why I probably like the music so much, Bill. You know, it's absolutely fantastic. And, of course, you're borderlining on the sort of real-life events that, obviously, you witness yourself every single day.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's brilliant. Now, where are you from? I think I remember asking you last time, but just in case there are some listeners out there thinking, hello, where is that accent? I can't quite place it, and I'm certainly not going to have a guess because I could be wrong and I could be completely insulting here, so I'll leave it up to you. Where are you from originally?
Well, I was born in Cumbria, in the Lake District.
Okay.
And then we moved to near Newcastle.
Right.
So I lived in I was kind of raised in about 10 miles out of Newcastle.
Yep.
And then I moved to Gloucestershire so I'm kind of Cumbrian, Geordie with a bit of Gloucestershire. So it's a weird mix, Sean.
It certainly is, but it doesn't come through. It doesn't come through on your singing voice. Your singing voice is so unique. It's unbelievable.
Well, I'm a Geordie. I'm very proud to be a Geordie, and yeah, thank you. Thanks for saying that.
You're very welcome. Just in case people come up to you and ask you if you're from Sunderland. Right, okay, moving on.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I made that mistake once or twice before, and yes, I got my, shall we say, into a vice, and they were squeezing them. Right, okay, talking about squeezing them in, I've got to squeeze this next one in because it's most important that we get these tracks in so people can hear them, and then obviously they're just going to bite your hand, and they want you to send out many CDs. So here we go. Now, for me, this has got David Bowie written all over it. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but this is where I like to think, you know, sometimes I like to compare the unsigned talent and obviously new talent to existing or older talent as well, just to give that kickstart. Am I wrong? Is there a little bit of Bowie influence in that song at all?
Well, probably, because I love Bowie, so probably. But I mean, the song actually originally was on the first album in a very different guise.
Yeah.
Different title even, and it was just an acoustic guitar and me singing. So Phil has really sexed it up, you know, with the brass and Izzy's backing, etc., etc. Yeah, I mean, Bowie isn't a million miles off.
No.
But to me, it kind of sounds more. I'm not really sure. It's the brass bits kind of remind me a bit of Van Morrison-y, who I'm not really a big fan of.
Mm-hmm.
Elvis Costello-y. I don't know. It's.
There's a little something there, though, isn't there? There's a little trait there of sorts. For me, I can hear. I mean, I wouldn't be far off. I mean, if he was still around today, Bowie actually singing with you on that one.
Oh wow! Can you imagine that?
Wow, that would be absolute. There we go. If we could have done it, I'm sure Phil would have done it.
Well, I've got Izzy.
He would have had to come personally to the studio.
I've got Izzy with me singing. That's all I need. Who needs Bowie when you got Izzy? Come on.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Izzy, you do bring that much needed lift, as you said right at the beginning of the show. You do bring that to each track, and for me, again, that's a fantastic track. I love it for many reasons. Obviously, the Bowie influence. I'm a huge Bowie fan, you know, and I just feel like, you know, if he was still around, I think it would sound as equally as good with Bowie's lyrics, Bowie's voice on those lyrics.
Well, that's a massive compliment, Sean. Thank you.
You're very welcome, indeed. Right, okay, now on to track number 4. Now, let's see if I can read this correctly. Yes, you're laughing. You know why you're laughing. For those that don't know, it's called Why Does Everything Happen to Me and Something? Is that right?
No. It's why does everything have to mean something?
There we go. I knew I'd get it wrong. It's so. I should have put my glasses on.
But given that you got it wrong, proves my point, because that's what it's meant to do. It's meant to be said wrong.
Shh.
So it's fine.
I've done it on purpose, honestly. Okay, why such a long track, and why is it all together? For goodness' sake.
I don't know. I just think it looks pretty cool when it's all written together without any gaps. It's a bit like exasperated. Why does everything have to? Because it's a very cynical sort of song. If you listen to the lyrics, it's pretty cynical. I don't want to give too much away. But,
no, indeed. So
it's a pretty angry sort of cynical song.
Yes.
It's almost like just a kind of an exasperated breath of why does everything have to be singing?
And I'll be honest with you, you're a third of the way through the album, and all of a sudden we're doing a word search there. That's exactly what my thoughts were straight away. I thought, oh, for goodness sakes, put a word search into the title there. And I mean, obviously, you know, you're looking at it and you think, right, I can see everything, I can see something, and then you're obviously trying to piece everything else together. So it does draw you in, it does draw your attention. So it's very, very clever. Whose idea was that, or was it just something you just thought off on the spur of the moment?
No, it was always like that. That's how I've always sort of sung it and written it down, really.
Gotcha.
And again, it's one of those songs that it benefits massively from. I've got Izzy, because I mean, the middle 8 and bits with Izzy's doing the kind of 50s kind of doo-wop, so if I can say that, along with John Donegan. You know John.
I do know John, yeah.
Yeah, John's a very good friend of mine, and John's also got a fantastic album called Putney, which Phil produced.
Yeah.
And another album called Being Sold Flat, which people should really, really check out. But John is a bit of a he's a bit of a contributor to some of my stuff, and he contributed the backing vocals with Izzy to this song. I just think it sounds fantastic with Izzy and John on it.
Perfect. I'll tell you what, we'll get to the production side after we hear a little bit of this then. There we are, a few shalalas there.
Lovely.
Oh, it's very, very nice. It's very catchy. It's got that sort of that tune underneath that you start tapping your toe to it straight away. No, you're very... Now, on the production side, Phil and Izzy, obviously your shalalas and everything, very 60s style you're coming in there, Izzy.
Yeah, I mean, really, I kind of went off what John had done before, because... again, I think John came in first to do his backing vocals, and really what I did is just kind of layered it up with a couple of other parts, really. So it was kind of already ready-made for me to just come in and do it.
That's what you need, though. You need something of ease, you know, something you can just say, right, this is exactly what I need to do, and you go and do it.
Yeah,
without hardly any thought, you know, and that for me, you know, it just makes it so much more natural, doesn't it, for you, I suppose?
Absolutely, and it was the whole kind of feel of the track was already there, so you kind of knew what you needed to bring into it.
Because of the lyrics, I kind of wanted to make it quite a poppy sounding backing track.
Yeah.
For irony. I love John. We're actually working on John's third album currently.
Wow, there we go.
And that's sounding really, really good, really experimental and different.
And are you on that, Bill? Are you going to be on that at all?
Well, if I'm asked, I'll contribute, but John doesn't need me to do on his album.
I think Bill will almost definitely be on the track.
Ah, there we go. Why not? Scratching backs here, I think.
Oh, the Caretaker family.
Well, that's absolutely right. Get that in there as well, Phil. Okay. So obviously, you know, I'm going to ask this as a sort of collective, question for everyone. So obviously, you know, if you're into music and you want to start getting something laid down as a sort of a professional track, Bill, what would you say was the first thing you need to do as a sort of, you know, you're strumming on your guitar, you've got some really good lyrics, you've got it to the acoustic guitar stage. What's your next steps?
Me.
Well, hey, Dad, psychic, isn't he, Dad? He's really psychic. Yeah, I think it's really important to invest in some recording stuff at home, which you can use to record your. Because it's no good sending Phil stuff which is just like taped on an old tape cassette. Well, then again, maybe you could do it, but I tend to use
only if it's on Memorex.
Yeah, I tend to use a software.
We did one that was not to a click track, which was a bit of a nightmare.
But it's the best track on the album, Phil.
I know. That's why, because I spent so bloody long on it.
That's ironic.
Oh, that is definitely ironic, isn't it? So you've done it on a Memorex or a Sony or something like that.
Invest in some good, in a good software program.
Yeah.
GarageBand
on your
PC. Is perfect.
Yep.
And then send it to Phil, and then Phil will do it for you, basically. I mean, Phil can make anything sound good, even me. I mean, he gets me to sound good. So.
There we go. Excellent advice there. So if you are a budding musician and you've got some bits and pieces on paper, and obviously you're strumming your guitar along and thinking, right, what do I do next? Invest into some equipment, record yourself, and obviously then send it over to Phil. Okay, and Phil will then give you some pointers, what you need to do, where you need to go from there. And obviously don't forget to send in your bank details as well. Does that sound about right, Phil?
Yeah. Yeah, our website is www.caretakerstudios.com.
All one word.
All one word.
Just pop me a message on that. We'll get straight back to you.
Excellent. And Izzy, question for you then. Obviously, this would be artist or, even the band. And they said, look, we do need some sort of a bit of a feminine touch to it. Now, do you discuss this obviously with someone, obviously, you don't know them, from Adam or Eve, it could be a lady as well. And they want your tones onto this song. How do you go about the process then? Because you don't want to do too much. And again, you don't want to do too little. You want to lift the song. But could you do something that could be too much or not enough? I mean, how do you find that balance?
Well, yeah. Generally, generally getting me involved in it is usually something that Dad or Phil likes to suggest.
Yeah.
To the artist. So, because first and foremost, Dad is doing the producing, and he is kind of in charge of whether he feels that I'm needed on it. And usually it's a little bit of a initial conversation with the artist, of course, to kind of see whether they're up for that. And generally I just, I kind of give, how I kind of like working is I put everything that I feel it needs on there. And once it's back to the artist, they can obviously decide. They can edit, and usually Dad edits before it goes to the artist. But I think with what I do, it's usually better to give too much than too little, because obviously then you have the choice.
Yeah, that sounds about right, actually. So if you put a little bit too much on it, it's down to them then if they want to take a little bit back or strip it back a little bit. So more is less, or less is more.
Exactly.
I always say to her, just sing over the whole bit.
I don't, but yeah.
And she doesn't. It's fairly structured what she sends me, but then I can pare it down or muck around with it how I want.
Of course, yeah. And I mean, obviously, if you get a poor recording coming through, Phil, how do you get around that?
A poor recording, I can't really.
No, I suppose it's recorded poor. There's not much else you can do with it.
Got to be, say, GarageBand standard.
Yeah.
Which is the little brother of Logic, which is what I use.
Gotcha.
That's the perfect. I'm doing an album with Joel Rogers, and he sends me GarageBand stuff, and I can just turn it from GarageBand into Logic and continue where he's left off.
Yeah. I suppose, obviously, that... Yeah, sorry.
The really important thing, or the really helpful thing, is that it's to a click.
Gotcha. No worries at all.
I can now, having become a bit more expert with it, I can now actually get the click to follow an out of time track.
Right, yeah.
We did with one of the songs on this album. I'm not going to say which one.
Diplomatically put.
So it's as simple as that.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen. If you are a budding musician out there, or you're part of a band and you want to sort of like see where your next steps go, there you go. There's your answer. Okie dokie. Right, so we're almost halfway through the album.
You don't want to be part of a band.
Oh, yeah, sorry. More advice coming from Phil now.
So I was going to say, you don't want the hassle and expense of putting a band together and rehearsal and all that sort of stuff. It cuts all of that out.
Yeah.
We are about here.
In short, come see us.
Yeah.
That's good advice to have. And obviously, because of the coronavirus, the way it is at the moment, it's working for you, Phil, as well. Really, it's working.
It is actually. I've done better since I've happened than. Well, no, it was building, but it's not sort of knocked me out of business.
Yes,
which it now is. I've since we last chatted, I'm now, kosher business with this.
Oh, that is good news. I mean, obviously, people are struggling out there, both.
A day job.
Absolutely. I mean, people are struggling out there financially as well as mentally, and obviously Bill will, know a little bit about what I'm saying here. So I think music is a good pastime. It's a good escapism, both profits and obviously for mental health as well, Bill.
Absolutely.
So that is all good. Now, obviously, we're all talking about something positively, and then we're going on to track number 5, which brings us neatly into Burying the Dead. What a great link. So we'll have a listen to this, because I can't really say anything positive about Burying Dead, I suppose. I mean, apart from they might smell a bit. So we'll play this, and then we'll come back to you guys, and just tell us a little bit about, I suppose, the process of this one. Now, there's a lot going on there. I personally thought this is nice. It's got a nice sort of harmony to it as well. Even though the title really fools you, you think it's going to be quite dark and almost miserable, but it's quite a sort of almost sort of at peace song. Is that sort of where you were going with this?
Well, I think Phil provides that kind of counterpoint. I mean, anything that's too dark and miserable, Phil and Izzy kind of lift. So it's a bit confusing. But I mean, the song itself, to me, it's pretty obvious what it's about.
Yes.
It's a political song, and it's about the perils of choosing to vote in a certain way. We're not going to say which way.
No.
And the consequences of that begets the title.
Of course.
Especially during a pandemic.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, but it's a song. I mean, I wrote the song really quickly. It wasn't a song which was going to be on the album. And I had my guitar one evening, and I sat down and I started strumming. And usually I take a long time to write a song. And this song came like within about 10 minutes. It was kind of done.
Now, sometimes songs like that, Bill, are, the ones that are really quickly sort of penned in, and then obviously you get the riff round and obviously get the guitar working on it. Sometimes they can be the best songs ever.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And it's very misleading, I mean, obviously Burying the Dead, you think, it's going to be a real sort of like down. It's going to bring me down to a place. And it doesn't. It's almost like the opposite of that, isn't it?
Well, see, if it was just me on my own, you'd want to kill yourself. You really would. My wife is listening tonight, and she will tell you, if you listen to my voice on its own, without anything else, it's not great. And my wife will tell you that.
Oh dear. I'm going to hand this over to Phil now, because obviously you've pioneered this and you've lifted it, and it's...
Well, again, it's I love the irony of quite an uplifting bit of music with a very down subject underneath it.
Yes.
I think it's ironic and quite clever, and maybe, I need to watch not to overdo that. Like with Sacred Veil, I went with the darkness, and to me, that's my favourite track on the album.
And that, ironically, as well, using that word, is coming up very shortly after we've finished this one.
Sorry, yeah.
No, that's fine. No, I don't mind you jumping ahead, because obviously it's good to sort of compare one song to the next as well on an album, because, like you say, I mean, obviously with the track number 5, which is Burying the Dead, you've almost sort of put a headstand onto this. You've sort of turned it upside down.
Exactly, yeah. And a few of them, I use that technique. Like I say, I'm quite a big fan of the irony of a sweet sort of pop backing, and then this really depressing message from the vocalist.
Now, obviously, Izzy, I mean...
I can always rely on Bill for that.
Oh, yeah.
Izzy, now... Obviously, over to Izzy with this track. I mean, obviously, the title itself, you're feeling down in the dumps just reading it, and you think to yourself, how am I going to lift this track? So what sort of like, experience, obviously, which you have, what would you say, what would be the first thing you needed to do, apart from obviously listen to the track? How can you lift it?
Well, with this one in particular, it's a similar thing. I kind of... With backing vocals, for me, I kind of try and see it a lot as an instrument itself. So, so with that, I kind of went with Dad's idea of going at it from an ironic point of view.
Yeah.
So where it's all kind of juxtaposed to the actual message. where even the way of singing it is quite kind of sunshine and daisies.
And it really works with Bill's tone.
Yeah, it complements it. You got one end of the scale to the next, haven't you? Really, you're going across the board there.
Work so well together.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've got the sort of darkness of Bill and the light of his, and it just really works.
I totally agree with you, because obviously on paper you're looking halfway through it and you think, right, okay, we're going on a downer here, and you took by surprise, really. And I mean, the whole album gives you that anyway. What you think you might be listening to is the exact opposite, and then stuff that you think, okay, this is going to be quite cheerful, it's again the exact opposite again. And I do like what you do with your music, Phil, because you do surprise us with what you do with music, which is absolutely fantastic.
Happy that you get on.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, obviously, I'm just, I'm a pair of ears,
So thanks, man. I appreciate that.
You're very welcome. Now, you mentioned, obviously, the next track, which is Sacred Veil. Now, again, I won't ask what it's about. Obviously, you can get an idea from just the title. But, Bill, back over to you for a second, my friend. What do you think of those comments that you just heard there? I mean, obviously, with your sort of like deeper, darker tones, and then obviously, from the other end of the scale with Izzy's really sort of like the sunshine and flowers. How did it make you feel when you heard that?
Oh, exhilarating. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. It's I've always been drawn to the darker side of the arts, if you like. And like I say, I think if it was just me on my own doing this with an acoustic guitar, you'd all be quite depressed within the first song. But the way that, and I don't need to tell Phil or Izzy anything. I mean, they just know what to do. I never give Phil any instruction. Well, rarely, Phil, Dad, do I? Any instruction. And
no, you don't.
Phil just seems to know exactly what's needed in Izzy. Well, I nearly called the album. I mean, I call Izzy the secret weapon because she is the secret weapon. I nearly called the album Songs for the Secret Weapon, but somebody beat me to it.
Oh man, you should have done that. Would have been brilliant.
No, somebody beat me to it. Someone's already got an album.
Oh no, because obviously me mentioning Secret Weapon, obviously that is track number 7 in a second. I'll explain why in a second. But I'll tell you what. Let's go straight into track number 6 then, which is Sacred Veil. Okay. And just before it really kicks in, I'm going to finish it there so people will really want to hear that track, because you've done it again, Phil. You think, right, Veil, wedding, sacred, and you just took us down a sort of like almost a scary path of horror and some sort of vile violence there. And you've got the sort of two ends of the spectrum there with obviously Bill's sort of tones there, very deep and dark. And then Izzy comes in, all the sort of like angel singing. It's absolutely magnificent opener.
Well, I
love it.
Izzy like a den of female vampires.
Right.
And like I say, with this one, I because I'm a big fan of dark music, and I just let myself go on this one. There's like big, dark orchestrations later on in the song, and the drum and bass is quite heavy, and you got to hear it all. It's a masterpiece,
and that is why I stopped it where it was, because I want people to buy this.
Yeah. It's my favourite track on the album.
Indeed, I think you mentioned that just prior to obviously playing the track.
I've been on this show before, and you played a snippet of it there.
That's it. I won't play the full one, not until obviously we exhausted all the avenues of payments.
Now it's really good.
It is brilliant. Izzy, what was it like working on that one? Because that sounded lots of fun.
Oh, it really was. This actually was also one of my favorites. Dad's kind of love for dark music is, in that sense, is kind of rubbed off on me there as well.
Yeah.
With a lot of dark music like that, it is really nice to put like big choral arrangements with it. And I had lots of fun doing that with this one. And it was really nice that in that instance, Dad gave me the kind of full freedom to kind of go ham on it, and I hope that I did.
Excellent. I mean, you have got that borderline of gothic sort of rock to it as well, haven't you?
Exactly that.
That's what we were going for.
Yeah.
That's it. And obviously, I don't want to give too much away, but Bill, doing that one, my friend, writing it, it must have been a joy for you.
Oh, it was, yeah. Again, it was a fairly anemic version when I first wrote it. It wasn't anything like it sounds now. And I think going from the kind of minor keys of the verse into the major keys of the chorus, it does sound. But I mean, listening to Phil's middle eight, which is all strings,
yes,
with probably, I think, the best drum pattern I've ever heard in my life, and Izzy's backing on the middle. The middle eight is just, on its own, is absolutely, it's breathtaking. Come on, Phil, don't you think?
Yeah, I do. I totally agree, mate.
The middle eight of that song lasts about a minute, or maybe it's quite a long song, but it's unbelievable. It is unbelievable.
Indeed.
No, it's,
6 minutes, 10 seconds, and it's pure glory.
It's a masterpiece.
Absolutely.
It's one of the best things I've done in my nearly 60 years.
There we go. There we are. You now know that Phil has got plentiful of experience there in all of his years in the music business.
Yeah, I got my jab today, so...
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. So, how did that go?
It was all right, but I'm not feeling superb tonight, put it that way.
Okie dokie, but obviously, having it done, I mean, how does it make you feel now, sort of in your mindset?
Well, I've got a few health issues anyway, so
okay.
my take on it was like, if I get this COVID thing, it's going to kill me.
Gotcha.
So if I get a vaccine that's going to kill me, then, well, at least I had a go at surviving.
I love the irony.
I've been locked in a studio for about the last year. I've lost all my friends.
and half your hair by the sounds of it as well.
Yeah. Well, not half, there's just a bit at the top.
Oh, there we go. Izzy's laughing. Izzy's laughing.
Well, right.
Oh, dear me. Now, who mentioned Secret Weapon? Was it yourself, Bill, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, yeah.
Now, what is Secret Weapon? Because this track we're going to play in a second, 5,000 Feelings, we've got in brackets here, Secret Weapon Mix. So tell us a little bit about that, and why is it called that?
Well, I don't really want to give too much away because Phil might tell me off, but the vocals were recorded in my kitchen.
Okay.
Without a pop filter, without anything, just on a basic microphone about 3 years ago. Right. And with an acoustic guitar, and I've always quite liked it, but it wasn't to a click track, so it wasn't really in time. So I said to Phil, if you can do something with this, Phil, great, but if you can't, you can't.
Yeah.
Wow. Phil's added lots to it, and Izzy is the secret weapon. I mean, it's basically a duet with me and Izzy, and I know you're going to start the song from the start.
Yes.
I reckon start the song from the middle, because you get Izzy's bit is absolutely phenomenal.
I knew you were going to do that, so I'm going to have to now forward it a little bit.
Because of the challenges that we had doing it, it's my favourite song, because it was so complicated to do, and Phil is just, well, he's worked a miracle. I mean, he really has, in my opinion. Right. I love the song. I do love the song.
No problem. I am keep talking because I am fast forwarding through the track here. So I'm going to get to about 2 minutes 30 at the ending of the song, because obviously I look at it from the remaining. So we're flicking through as we speak. So obviously I will then fade this in, and then we'll come back to the production crew of this very, very shortly. So hopefully we've got this in around about sort of the right part. Oh, yeah, and I think I've got there just in the right space of time there. Fantastic. Perfect. That was a great guess, actually, because I couldn't remember exactly where it was, what I think you were referring to, Bill, but we got there in the end.
Perfect.
Hey, Sean, you should be a DJ.
Do you know? I'm working on it. I'm training. I've only been doing this for about just a couple of years now. Thanks, Phil. I've got to tell you now, Bill. Just going back to you very, very quickly before I go over to the production side. I've got to say, no wonder you don't want to move. Your kitchen is acoustically brilliant.
Well, I think it's Phil's treatment. That's brilliant. Seriously,
What did you sing into the colander or something? That's fantastic.
It didn't sound anywhere near as special when it was recorded on, I think, GarageBand with a very basic microphone about 3 years ago. I wasn't really even trying. It was just something which came to me, and I recorded it thinking, well, I'll store that aside for the moment. But I'll probably never be able to do it again, because my voice, if I try, Phil said, well, try and do it again.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it again. I don't think I could do it again, ever. That's it.
Now, Izzy obviously coming in on that track as well, and then obviously duetting. Obviously, you know, it's something that obviously you've done remotely.
Yeah, it was remotely. Dad got in touch with me and was saying, you know, I think you should have a part of the song as a duet. I think we want you to do this as a duet. And
yes.
I gave it a listen, and I thought, yeah, this is definitely something that I could get involved with. It kind of sat within my vocal range perfectly. So, and I could agree. I kind of agreed with the message that the song gave as well. I could kind of find myself in that and kind of give my own interpretation of it as well, I guess.
It's lovely, and it's like, you know, you were in the same room. It just comes across like that, and obviously that's through Phil's masterful ear and obviously his technology that he uses now. But when you first heard that back after your dad had done his magic on it, it's marvellous. You can't tell any difference.
Exactly.
That's fantastic.
He made it sound very together.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's like you were in Bill's kitchen, singing into the same colander.
I was spiritually.
Well, that's Dad's compliment for the year.
There we go. Hashtag colander in the kitchen. Right. Okie dokie. Now, Phil, obviously, we've got a Phil Sorrell remix coming up very shortly. Just before we go into that, though, Secret Weapon.
Well, it's something I've called since we've been doing this.
Yeah.
Not naming any names, but if I find at the beginning, if I found that a track was a little bit weak, and wasn't really cutting it, I would go to the artist and say, can we just try some female backing vocals on this?
Yeah.
If you don't like them, we take them off.
Of course, yeah.
Knowing that they completely love them.
Absolutely.
And this happens so often that I just... It was when Manny was working with me, Manny Perizzotti. We ended up calling her the Secret Weapon.
Ah, what a...
We'd be listening to a mix and be like, what does it need? And one of us would just say, it needs a secret weapon.
There it is.
Right, hi, Iz. You busy?
You are now. There we go. How do you feel about being called a secret weapon, Izzy?
I mean, it's a really nice compliment. I'm going to tell you not to stop.
No, absolutely not. And obviously, what I'm going to say to all three of you now is, obviously, once the pandemic, and it will go away, and obviously we can go back out and start looking and listening to live musicians again. Bill, obviously, some of these tracks, are you thinking about, putting it back onto the stage area and playing these live?
No.
Okay then.
I would need a choir of angels.
Well, you've got a secret weapon. That's where I was going to here.
No disrespect. I would need a brass section. I would need an electronic section. I would need a couple of guitars. Mm-hmm. I would need a choir of angels. It just wouldn't work. I mean, the songs could be sung acoustically, just with a guitar. And I may well do some of these songs at open mics and what have you, maybe. But I'm not the sort of person to go out and do these things live.
No.
Psykobilly is a studio project, and it's me, Phil, Izzy. And I should also mention that the visual side of the project is really, really important to me. And Trevor Johnson, I don't know if Trevor's listening, Trevor does all the videos for the songs. And when you watch the videos with the songs, it just adds another dimension, Sean.
Another layer, yeah. Another layer, as you say, yeah.
Like you're in a movie.
It's amazing.
Oh, there we are. Another little shout out for Trevor there. Clever Trevor, we just got to start
He's
calling him.
He's genius. He really is genius. His videos are brilliant. And again, I've never got to tell Trevor anything. He just knows what to do. You know, we have very similar tastes in music and the arts and in film, what have you. But he just knows what to do with a piece of music.
And just before we get
fantastic,
and just before we get into track number 8, then I might as well ask you now, Bill. I think I've asked you this before, but obviously for any new listeners out there, who is your sort of go-to hero when it comes to your musical icons? Then who really inspired you to start, picking up the guitar and sing and pen songs?
Well, back in the day, it was T-Rex. Back in the day.
Wow!
I saw them when I was 12 in Newcastle.
Yeah.
Which makes me officially hip. And then I saw Shawaddy Waddy, and then I was officially unhip.
You can't beat a bit of Shawaddy Waddy, though. Come on.
I saw T-Rex in 74,
yep.
And then I saw Shawaddy Waddy in 76. And then I discovered punk. And to me, my favourite band of all time are the Sex Pistols.
Okay.
Because, people are going to laugh and think, nah, come on, this is one album. But it was just, the album, spoke to me at a certain time in my life. And but in terms of I've got a really broad palette of, Bowie, Springsteen, Dylan, Pink Floyd, Scott Walker, a lot of the early 80s stuff, Echo and the Bunnymen, The Associates.
Yeah, The Associates, Love Plus, I love all that stuff. It's absolutely fantastic.
The list is endless, really. The list is endless, really.
Yeah, and I think this is why I'm drawn to this album as well, because there's so much, like I said before, there's so much late 70s, early 80s influence of music coming in there. And obviously the lyrics really are, the two are marriage made in heaven. It just really works.
I don't want to sound as though I'm, being too pretentious, or because I'm not at all. I'm not at all big-headed in that sense.
No.
But I think I like people to think about lyrics. Back in when I was discovering music in my mid-teens, the lyrics, you had to think about them, and you'd often find yourself thinking, what did he actually say in that? And there are still songs now that are 40 years old that I ain't sure what people are saying. And I like it. I like it like that.
Do you know something? It's absolutely brilliant. I mean, I remember back in the day when you used to get your, you get the charts and all of that, and you start singing along to stuff, and then you think, what do they say there? Oh, I'll just make it up and come up with some sort of a word that doesn't actually exist. And then you run out. I can't remember when it was out now, Wednesday or a Thursday, and get your smash hits, because they used to have the lyrics printed inside the magazine, and you're astonished. You think, they don't sing that really, do they? They don't really say that word, do they? I've been singing this for the last 3 or 4 weeks. Really? And obviously these are days, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, before the internet existed. We used to have to wait till the NME or definitely Smash Hits used to print in the lyrics of the latest song by Spandau Ballet or, the Fun Boy Free, for instance.
I was always a massive Jam fan. And
of course.
I was gobsmacked at some of the lyrics that I've been singing to Weller's songs, what he was actually singing.
Do you know, it's absolutely unbelievable when you think back now and think about some of the earlier Jam stuff. It was all very political stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the messages in there was like, don't support this, support that, and do this and don't do that, and you're singing along thinking, oh, what a happy little tune. And David Cameron went on record, didn't he, when he first became Prime Minister, and he went, do you know, I love Eating Rifles, one of my favourites.
Yeah.
Couldn't have got it worse.
What Weller said, though, wasn't it?
Absolutely, he couldn't have got it wrong, could he? Even worse, Tales on the River. He should have come out with Tales on the Riverbank or something,
Anyway. Can I do a very quick shout out to Johnny Bradley, who's listening? Johnny Bradley runs Multiple Generation. You know Johnny?
I do know Johnny very well, yeah.
Well, Johnny's been in touch with me a few times about the album, and he's personally reached out and said, look, Bill, some of the lyrics have really touched me, and I hope Johnny doesn't mind me saying this, but that's the best feedback I could ever have. That the lyrics touch people personally.
No, I totally agree. Yeah,
and people are thinking about things rather than just being force-fed this utter. I'm not going to swear. This utter. I am going to swear. Garbage. Come on. I mean, a lot of the modern stuff is really, really good, and it's produced really, really well. But the lyrics are just absolutely lost.
They are lost. They are lost. You don't know what they're singing about. You don't know what their sort of messages are. There's no love in there. There's no hate. There's just nothing to it. There's no meat in the bone there, is there, really?
No.
Bland is the word.
Bland. That's a great terminology, and I'm totally going to go with that. So,
Bland music.
yeah,
Music.
That's it. So, ladies and gentlemen, please head over to other radio stations if you love your bland music. If you want some meat on the bone and want some lyrical meaning to your songs, then stay here on Target Radio. And, yeah, big shout out to Johnny as well, because I'll be honest with you, when I first interviewed Johnny, I was reading a lot of his reviews, and I actually thought he was a professional writer. And no, he's not. But I tell you what he's doing at the moment, obviously I won't mention what he's into, what he does for a living, because he said to me, don't dwell on that side of things, so I won't. We all know, if you know Johnny really well, you know what he does for a living anyway. But I said to him, if you ever come out of what you're doing, I think he's got a career in writing, because his writing style is absolutely marvellous.
I agree. I mean, he's a bit like me in the sense that he's very, very... he comes across as very honest and passionate and real, doesn't he? And that's what I like.
Absolutely.
He's such a genuine person, and he's done loads of promo. I mean, Johnny. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, Johnny's kind of website is more about mod, and which isn't really my thing at all, to be honest.
No.
But it's still promoting my stuff, which is kind of not really. It doesn't really have a genre. It's not really. I wouldn't say it was niche particularly, but it's not really got any genre. I mean, how would you pigeonhole the album? I mean, nobody can really say, oh, it's this or it's that. It's different things together, isn't it?
Genre-less.
That's what I love. Anyway.
Well, I think genre-less is a great, a great pigeonhole. If we were to put it somewhere, it could go in so many different holes, though, to be honest with you, Bill. It's got that sort of musical premise on there. There's so many different styles all wrapped up neatly into one album that it could go into sort of many different sort of holes if you were to pigeonhole it.
Well, I think, again, thank Phil for that. I mean, I always say, look, if anything sounds really great on the album, thank Phil and Izzy. If it sounds terrible, then blame me. That's my default position.
Oh, you are very humble, Bill.
Stick to it.
I do love interviewing you, because you are so down to earth, and you're not pretentious at all. You're not coming across, you don't come across anything but humble, and very grateful for what you're doing and what you've done, and that for me is a mark of a real star in the making. I think that I'm going to use that word star, because for me you are a star. The music that you have is brilliant. The musical oomph, if you like, from Phil and Izzy, it just catapults you amongst all the big boys out there that have got their big record deals and stuff like that. So count yourself very lucky to have teamed up with Phil and Izzy. But overall, they wouldn't have done nothing if you hadn't put the lyrics in place and obviously put the tune to them in the first place. So it's a harmony. It's a triangular harmony.
I can agree more.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah, it's teamwork. But I mean, honestly, I am not that bothered about fame and fortune. I'm really not. I really couldn't care less. I'd like Phil and Izzy to be recognised.
Yeah.
Because it's their business. But personally, I mean, the album was done for me. I did the album for me, for myself. And if I like it, I love it.
Yeah.
If anybody else likes it, it's a bonus. I don't really. I'm not bothered if anybody doesn't like it. I don't really care.
Absolutely.
And that's the best reason to do an album.
And I totally agree with you, Phil. I mean, I'll ask this, a lot of bands and artists that I speak to over the years here at Target Radio, none of them are in it for the money, because there is no money anymore. Obviously downloads and stuff like that, obviously have killed sort of, going out to record shops and buying, a piece of black plastic called a vinyl record. Those were the days when, these bands and artists and everything back in the sort of like 60s, 70s, 80s, were making money from. Not a lot. But they were making money. But I saw a review a few weeks ago now, and I don't know if you follow Gary Newman or not, but he was talking about something to do with teenagers. They get them on their face, spots. I can't think of the rest of the word. Anyway, I won't mention it. And he was saying, over the year, and he's got a vast catalogue of music, as we know. All right, he's not hitting the number one spot in the charts. He made £12 or something over a year.
Yeah.
So, obviously, you could be a big star, you could have a big name, and you're making £12 a year. That's before stoppages, I think. So it's not a huge amount of money, they're making on the digital downloads on these spot places, whatever they're called. Anyway, moving forward then, let's lift the mood a little bit with a track called As I Drown. Honestly, Bill, we can't use any of these tracks to actually lift the mood at the moment. So as I drown, I think we've talked a lot. I think we need to play something. Let's play this. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you listen to this on a set of decent headphones, which I'd like to say I'm wearing right now, I'm not going to advertise the brand name, there's so much going on in the background underneath the lyrics there that is really, really inspiring for me to actually try and not listen to the lyrics for a first time round and actually hear what's going on underneath. I'm going to pass it over to you, Phil. What's going on with this?
Well, that was actually down to Bill. It's a soundtrack from a film.
Ah, right, okay.
Sent it to me, and I just ran it under the track so that it's just audible enough to be annoying.
It's there, isn't it? It sort of takes you away from the. It doesn't take you away from the song, but you can hear it underneath, and I think it complements it a little bit. It lifts it a little bit, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I was very unsure when Bill suggested it. But he was boss, so I thought, I'm always willing to try new stuff.
And I think it works.
I tried it, and I thought, yeah, it's far out, man.
It is. It's very psychedelic, isn't it? It's on that sort of borderlines where you think you might have to take a headache pill or something, to actually listen to the track. But no, you don't. You can be absolutely headacheless to actually listen to that and actually feel that there's something more going on, but you can't quite make it out what it is.
It's a very clever technique.
It is.
I still.
And straight away, I mean, obviously Izzy's voice is in there, taking you to a sort of different plateau there. And I love that, Izzy. It's absolutely fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
No, you're very welcome. Credit where it's due. I mean, with this sort of, this la 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 la, you do with this, like the chorus, I take it using some sort of chorus app or something, I'm not very technology minded, when it comes down to the magic that Phil or your dad does. But, the flange and all of this and everything else, your voice is almost very harmonic. It's very nice.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that's.
I think I used a tremolo on your voice on that one.
Exactly. I was going to say that's all Dad doing those.
I used a guitar pedal basically on her voice.
Wow. Did it hurt? That's all I need to know, Izzy. And Bill, may I ask?
Still getting over it.
Yeah.
I just want to know where you put the pedal. Anyway, I don't really want to know where you put the pedal. Right, okay, moving forward then, because obviously we're limited on time now, and we've got 3 more to go with. But I just want to know, is it going to remain a secret, Bill? Which film is it?
Well, it's actually it's a Swedish film from the 60s by a very famous director, and it's basically it's a female reciting a very erotic dream.
Right.
I'm hoping if people listen to it carefully, even though it's in Swedish and it's almost kind of sublingual, people can pick out the kind of sexual tension. That's why I did it. And can I also say that my daughter also does backing on the song, because it's quite an old song. It's been around before in a different guise.
Yeah.
And my daughter Beth, hiya Beth, who's listening tonight with her fiancé Lewis. Hiya Lewis.
Little cheeky shout outs there.
And it's a special song because Beth's on there as well, doing some of the backing on the chorus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great.
Excellent. Now, track number 9. I'm not going to pronounce this right. I don't think. Is it Phil You Kill?
Thrill You Kill You.
Thrill You Kill You.
Thrill You
Okay.
Kill You.
You put it in wrong then. No worries at all. Now, it's in block capitals. Any reason why?
No, it just sort of stands out really. It's kind of. Do you want me to talk about the? Well, essentially the song is influenced by the kind of B movie genre.
Gotcha.
That I'm a massive fan of. It's not a very deep song lyrically. It's again, it's been around a long time. I wrote the song back in the 90s.
Right.
With a couple of friends of mine called Rob and Tim. Long story. But I've updated the lyrics and the harmonic hooks, and it's electronic rather than guitars.
Yes.
It sounds big. But again, there's from the same film. There's some dialogue at the start from the same film, and there's also dialogue from a film called Badlands, which is a Martin Sheen, Sissy Spacek song, film from the 70s.
Yep. Yeah, I know of the film. I don't know if I've seen it or not. Probably have, but I don't know.
Basically
I don't
about doomed toxic romances.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
Okay, we'll have a little listen, and then we'll go over to the engine room, if you'd like to say, the production side, and find out a little bit more about it. Now, I tell you what, I want to get some glow sticks for this one, really, because this is taking me almost back to the sort of rave culture. The beats there, you know, you've got the electronic sort of music in the background there, but you've got this sort of, can I say it, almost like the new romantic Kraftwerk twist to it as well. Absolutely fantastic. Musically, I love it. The lyrics really are almost sort of OMD-ish as well. I don't know. That's just what I'm listening to. Tell me if I'm wrong, ladies and gentlemen. Over to you, Phil and Izzy.
I absolutely, you've got it in one. I'm a big fan of that sort of music. I actually do quite a lot of work with Rusty Egan, who was the DJ in the Blitz Club.
Yes, I remember Rusty Egan very, very well. He sort of like got a visage up to sort of, Steve Strange, obviously, with the club and everything. And then obviously, he started listening to Kraftwerk and then went over there and started sort of getting all the records and stuff like that. And he DJ'd it all, didn't he? Yeah, and that's what started this sort of new romantic thing.
Yeah, he just has this massive energy for still, and it really inspires me. So I did a remix of a Rusty and Midger track. I was going to say last year, but it might even be 2 years ago.
Oh wow!
Which you can get on Bandcamp. It's called Glorious.
Yes.
On Rusty's album.
Welcome to the remix.
Welcome to the remix. Thank you. I wouldn't have remembered that.
That's fine.
Well done, Izzy.
You're welcome.
And Midge actually went out and toured it and played my version.
Oh my goodness me! Then that must be really incredible. For you, Phil, as obviously a producer.
It was very weird having Midge's voice coming through my system.
And what a voice he has, though, eh? What a voice he has. When he took over Ultravox from John Fox back in the day, he levitated it, didn't he? Really, he really put them on the map.
Yeah. I mean, I was never a big fan. I loved his guitar.
Yeah.
The use of sort of distorted guitar with electronic backing. I was really into that, and that's what this track has, a bit of that on it.
You can see it's all coming through, isn't it? And it's all come to fruition, with obviously everything you love, Phil, and obviously with Izzy on there, and then obviously with Bill as well, performing the song as well. It's a marriage made in heaven, really, a three-way split, really. It's beautiful, it's brilliant, it's got everything you need in there. And obviously, I think, you missed a trick there. I think you could sell some optional glow sticks with it. That's the only thing you're missing with it, really.
No, I mean, in the 80s, I was in bands and we would go to the majors and have some creepy A&R man sniffing around us.
Yeah.
Saying, you've written this, you need to write it a bit more like that. And I was trying to write songs to please them. Now I went to Amsterdam and bust, and that's a long story and quite a jaded one. Anyway, I came back to England and decided to give up music, but that lasted about 6 months.
It doesn't last very long, you always come back to it.
Yeah. Since I've been doing music again, I don't take any influence from anything. I write or I produce what I think sounds good. And I don't really give a what's it about.
Yep, and there are other crisps. There are other crisps out there, ladies and gentlemen, as well. If you don't fancy a packet of Watsits, indeed. Now, Bill, I'm going to go back to Bill for a second, if you don't mind. With that track, Bill, when it come back to you in the present state where it is now, what was your first initial thoughts?
I fell off my chair. I literally fell off my chair. I could not believe how big it all sounded.
It's huge, isn't it? It's got everything you probably want and then some more, isn't it, really?
Yeah. And we shouldn't forget, that Phil and Izzy are both artists in their own right. I mean, Phil has written a lot of, tunes, and Izzy's recorded lots of tunes. And, it isn't just about the Psykobilly project. I mean, I'm very, very good to gather they're on board.
Yeah.
But they do have their own, they do have their own artistic, identities as well.
Yes,
as well
of course.
It needs to be said, really. But no, the track, yeah, I mean, it sounds massive. And the video that Trevor did to this is unbelievable.
Oh, the video's amazing.
Oh, it's absolutely fantastic.
And
it's just kind of, you need to see the video with the song, really. I feel.
And there's a video readily available now.
Phil, over to you, my man. There will be,
I
won't there?
think because AAB Records put that out as a single some time ago.
Yeah.
I think they've added it to the page with where you can buy the single.
Excellent.
Also, go to www.caretakerstudios.com.
Oh, also, yes,
of course.
on our website.
We host it right there.
Perfect.
It's the first video on our website, I think.
Yeah.
There you go, Phil. You don't even know your own website, but never mind. That's why you got Izzy there to help you out with all of that part of it.
I know.
He can't do everything, Izzy. Come on. Oh, brilliant. Now, this is a track that I know. There's a track that I know and love. I've played this many times on my show, and I always go back to this because I do love this. I love the opening. It's unique. It's different. Obviously, you've used this, using film dialogue now a couple of times through the album here, Bill. But obviously, for me, The Invisible Man, which we're going back to play, just a very, very quick snippet of this, because obviously we're running so short of time. And Damien Mann over in, where is he? Las Vegas. Yeah, he's going to be kicking my butt if I'm too late. I'm sure we're allowed 10 minutes, because obviously this is brilliant stuff we're listening to and obviously previewing today. And obviously this is going to help drive the record sales. Can we say records still? I don't know. The CDs, the downloads, whatever you want to call it. It's going to drive it forward. I know it. But The Invisible Man, we spoke about it before. So just very briefly, who is The Invisible Man?
C'est moi.
There he is. The man we're speaking to.
I am the Invisible Man.
No, I am the Invisible. Oh no, that's Spartacus, isn't it?
I think we're all invisible people.
I think so too. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a collective noun. Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to say too much about philosophically what it's really all about.
No, of course not.
It's kind of about being ignored, being used only when people want to use you, and I don't know. Hang
on, you don't work for my company, do you?
I don't know. But the opening dialogue is from the film called The Invisible Man from 1933.
Yes.
So the Invisible Man dialogues opens the song. So
let's have a listen to that. I love the opening of this. I'll tell you what, this actually really builds it up to the brilliant song that it's after. Listen to this, ladies and gentlemen.
Suddenly I realised the power I held.
So who come up with the idea? I mean, obviously we've heard this song a few times, so I'm just going to talk over over it now. But obviously it's still there in the background. So Bill, when did you first think, right, okay, I'm just going to use a film dialogue just to sort of, if you like, to introduce the song?
It wasn't my initial intention. I think I wrote the song again pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Last year, and it was the first song I sent to Phil.
Okay.
It was,
yeah. It was the first song that Phil did, and I was so blown away by what Phil and Izzy did to it. And then I thought it would be quite nice to it because I love doing things a bit differently. I think adding bits of film dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
I've always liked to do that sort of thing. Keep sort of cutting and pasting bits and pieces and what have you. And I just think it works really well. It sort of sets up the song.
It does, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree. It just gets your intrigue going very, very quickly. I mean, it's like a Beatles song. I remember an artist coming on here many, many weeks ago, and he says, the simplest things are, the title of the song, you should sing that first if you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This actually does the trick for you, I mean, you've taken it from, The Invisible Man, you took it from the film itself, so it sort of sets it up really nicely, and for me, it's one of my favourite on the album. But then, obviously, I've heard this song many, many times, so there are a few on there that I really love, and like I said, I had to play the album again, because I weren't sure whether there was a storyline running through it, and obviously, there could be, there might not be. I think it's up to the listener to decide what is going on with the album.
I mean, I think if you listen to the song, it's the lyric, the lyrics. It's all there. I mean, the meaning is all there. It doesn't take that much genius to work out what it's really all about. But again, the video by Trevor Johnson is absolutely fantastic. And that's on the Caretaker website, and I think Eldora Britain. I think Tom has got it up on his website as well. So the video is brilliant, and again, it complements the song so much.
Absolutely. Now, before we get into the last song, I just want to go on with the front and back cover then. So, the Patron Saint of Nothing, and literally we've got sort of like almost like a negative picture of just a long straight road with some telegraph poles and everything sort of negative. You know, it's very much black and white. Mm-hmm. Who come up with that concept? It's fantastic. I like it.
Well, it was me. I mean, I've always had a thing about roads. I mean, it's just, I know it sounds a bit strange, but I love the way that roads can. You look at a road and it goes on the triangle, and it goes off into the distance, and you think, well, you know, is it going somewhere good? Is it going somewhere bad? It's a bit like life, you know.
Yeah.
Like where's it taking us?
Absolutely.
And if you look at the road, the triangle of the road on the inside cover, the triangle is meant to represent me, Dad, and the secret weapon.
Ah.
Isn't that clever?
Now, also, I've noticed from the back cover, the road is the same road. Obviously, you've got the, you've got the same picture, but it's slightly lighter. Now, I don't know if anyone's picked up on that at all.
I think it's just the negative image I think the negative image on the front, and I think it's the original image on the back.
Ah.
And it was actually the art direction was actually Phil's brother, Steve. So keep it in the family, and Steve made a fantastic job of the CD cover, I think.
And I think it's simple, but it makes you, I don't know, you're just looking at it and you're sort of like absorbed onto the picture itself as well. So it does draw you in. And like you say, I mean, when you look down that road and it gets to the point of where you can't see it any further, you get to a point.
Yeah. It's a bit of a nod to Springsteen's Nebraska album.
Yes,
you know,
yeah. You've got it. You've got it. Okie
I like
dokie.
simple, Sean. I like things to be simple.
And it is simple, but
a lot
it's...
of the best album covers are really simple.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Never mind those rude words like the Sex Pistols. That was a thing. You know, the Black Album by Metallica. Simple.
Right, and let's get on to track. Let's get on to the last track then. And you're not coming back from this. I mean, that is an ultimatum, isn't it? Right away.
Yeah.
Right, tell me a little bit. Not so much about the track, but why was it placed there? I mean, is that, like I said, it's almost like a final ultimatum. It's like a do or die.
Yeah, it's kind of about my kind of... Well, I'm kind of thinking of just retiring from music completely.
And we're all going to scream and shout at radio and saying, don't you dare.
No, please don't.
No, he's not.
I'm getting to a certain point in my life, I'm getting to a certain age where, you know, I've been doing this a long, long time, and I want to kind of go on a bit of a high, really. And the album, I mean, it does sound good. I mean, what Phil brought to the table, it sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
So the last song's kind of it's a bit kind of autobiographical. It's a bit about me, but it's also got another deeper, much more sinister meaning as well. Again, you have to listen to it properly. And
of course.
Doubt, but yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know whether I'm going to leave or not. Retiring's a strong word, because I'm not really in the business. I'm just a guy with a guitar and a...
Well, I like the word hiatus, where you take a short break, or, you know, even like a break of many weeks, or possibly even many months. But then that person's going to come back somehow, some way in the future, rather than saying, right, that's it, I'm going to throw my guitar on a skip, and that is it, I'm done with music, which for me is retiring.
Well, I retired from work full time a few years ago. My wife, Lisa, was listening tonight. Hi, darling, love you. She's retiring this year, hopefully, and we're going to spend more time together. We're going to be travelling lots in the garden.
Yeah.
That's all you can do is go in the garden. And I've got my daughter Beth is getting married end of this year to Lewis, we hope, pandemic allowing. And my son Jamie is at university in his final year, and I'm proofreading all of his philosophy essays. Help me, God.
Oh,
so,
there we
I've got
are.
a lot on, and I haven't got time I just haven't really got the time now to be sitting and as much as I'd love to. I mean, if it was a simpler process, and I probably will do some things.
Hang on a minute. Here's a dilemma for you. Now, obviously, a wedding's one day, okay? And obviously, it's a few days beforehand. Let's say a few days, maybe a few weeks, or possibly even a few months organising it all, if that's allowed to go ahead. Right, okay, that's one box ticked. The second one is, with the British weather, you're not going to go out in the garden that often. And thirdly, with university, they're off more than they're on. So there won't be that many papers that you will need to proofread. So what else are you going to do? That's your Monday and Tuesday sorted out. What are you going to do for the rest of the week?
Oh, I'll just be a slave to my wife. My wife's slave.
He's going to do songs with us.
Absolutely.
I probably will do something, but it's not going to be Psykobilly. It's not going to be what you've... It's going to be something different, I expect.
Well, I tell you what, we look forward to whatever you create, Bill, because obviously what you've done here, my friend, is absolutely brilliant. And obviously with Phil and obviously Izzy's help in here as well. Obviously, it's a three-way combination. Everyone's an expert in their own field. I mean, obviously, Bill with your songwriting, Phil with obviously your mastering and your mixing, and obviously the extra elements of music. And then obviously Izzy with obviously your fine, talented voice, bringing the highs in there and just giving it such a harmony and making it sound so surreal. See what I've done there? It makes it, it's a real three-way combination. With one person not in that three-way, it wouldn't have worked.
No. Yeah, and plus Trevor with the visuals.
Absolutely. I mean, it's great for radio. Yeah. The visual side is very great for radio. So obviously, we'll give a little nod for Trevor there. But obviously, we will obviously head over to the Caretaker Studios website after we finish this show this evening and have a look at a couple of the videos and obviously have a look at what you've got on there as well. Bill, have you got your own website then, my friend?
I've got a Facebook website. Just
okay.
Like a Facebook thing, but there's not a great deal on there. I'm not one for self-promotion, Sean. I don't really do self-promotion, and I mean, Phil will tell you, I mean, he's got the albums, the copies of the CDs.
Yeah.
If they sell, fine. If they don't, I don't really care. I'm not bothered.
He's so
I'm really not that bothered. I love it. I love what Phil and Izzy have done, and Beth and John Donegan, who's I love it all, and that's good enough for me. Yeah.
Absolutely. And he wants to get out of that. Oh my goodness me. What's your wife's name again, Bill?
Lisa.
I just wanted to make sure that I was just going to ask Lisa if she can check a pulse because you're so laid back. I'm not sure.
She won't agree with that.
Now, I'm building up, obviously, here, because I'd like to play this last track in full, with your permission, guys. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
I'd just like to say,
yes,
John,
please.
That, we definitely will be doing more stuff with Bill.
Whether Bill likes it or not, obviously.
If I had to drive over to his house and pick him up and bring my studio.
Absolutely. Even if it is over your shoulder there, Phil.
He's too good to retire.
Of course he is. Absolutely. And I'm totally in agreement. And if you need some help, I'll help you lift him up.
Okay, I'll keep you to that.
We'll get in touch.
With my bad back.
Before you play the last track, can I say a couple of hellos to people?
Oh, you want more cheeky shout-outs? I have no problems at all.
I've got all of my fans, both of them, listening tonight, both of them.
Okay, excellent, lovely. It won't take long then.
Hello to Kevin Walker, who's a good Geordie guy who's living in France. I think James Walsh might be listening, and you know James well.
I know James very well, yeah.
Friend of ours.
Yep.
Johnny Bradley, Tom Wilton, both superb guys. John Donegan might be listening. Hiya, John, if you are. My wife Lisa, Beth and Lewis. Anybody else? I love you all.
Oh, look at that.
The very end of this song, Sean, the very end of this song was an absolute work of genius by Phil. And the reason he's done it is just so clever. So you might get it, you might not.
Okay, right. Okay, that sounds like a challenge to all of our listeners, and of course myself as well. Phil, have you got any final words? Izzy, have you got any final words you'd like to say, or maybe a cheeky shout out to anyone?
When we were talking about Johnny, I just wanted to say that I was amazed. Johnny rang me up and said he loved what we were doing at Caretaker so much that he wanted to get to know me a bit. And I just wanted to say that I was so impressed with that.
He's amazing.
That is nice. That is nice.
And reiterate what a fantastic guy he is.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, he's had no sort of journalistic training, but you would think he has.
Yeah. He's incredible.
He's passion on paper, I think. That could be his AKA. He definitely is. He definitely is. He's got a really good ear for music, and he's got a very good pen for knowledge.
Yeah.
Definitely. Do you want to have a little cheeky shout out? Go on, you might as well. Bill's done it.
I just wanted to thank the guys for letting me be a part of it, and thank you for your time. It's been great.
I've really enjoyed it, guys. I really, really have enjoyed it. I've enjoyed previewing this album. Of course, I've heard it a couple of times already. It's the third time, well, not a third time round for me, but obviously second time round and some snippets. There we go. It's absolutely a brilliant album, Bill. You ought to be very pleased with yourself.
Oh, very pleased.
You know, it is really good. And don't be silly. You're not going to do any retiring anytime soon because obviously the heavy squad are coming over, and that's the likes of me at 5'6", Phil, and obviously we'll get Izzy round there as well, and we'll just kidnap you.
Okay.
There we are.
Yeah, we're a band now, so
There we are, band of brothers and sister.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, you've been stars this evening. Hang on, I've just got to get the social distancing crew all ready. Okay, they're all wearing face masks and they're all 2 meters apart, and they want to give you three one of these. And rightly deserved. And for everyone else that's listening out there, this is for you as well. And yeah, we are late going to Damien Mann this evening, but I think it's well worth it, and I'm sure Damien won't mind. And I think we're going to finish off this evening, ladies and gentlemen, with a thank you to our 3 stars this evening, with Izzy, Phil, and of course Bill, Psykobilly. And I'd just like to say thanks very much indeed for your time this evening on Valentine's night. And just quickly before we go, who cooked and who ate?
My wife. Sorry.
neither.
Oh, no, what's going on?
For me, it was Lisa cooks and I eat, basically, in our house.
That sounds good to me, Bill.
I've had a jab and a whiskey.
That's just equally as good. Is he?
That's so rock and roll, Dad. That is so rock and roll.
I am rock and roll, Bill.
That's the album, Bill. Third album, A Jab and a Whiskey.
Jab and a Whiskey. Great title. And how about yourself, Izzy? Did you have a nice cooked meal given to you, or a red rose or anything?
Well, we ordered in.
That sounds as good as you can get. Let someone else take the strain of the cooking. Right, I'm going to leave you with this last track then. It is a good track to finish on. And once again, thanks ever so much indeed, guys, for jumping on this evening. You've made a good show, a great show this evening.
Thank you,
and
Sean.
I'm going to hang up on you now. I hate doing this part because I never know how to say goodbye. So I'm just going to say, what is good looking and hangs up? That would be me. Right, okie dokie, and we're going to play this track now. And for everyone out there, go and buy this album. Go on to caretakerstudios.co.uk, I believe, or it might be .com. I will check it and let you know on our site. This is called You're Not Coming Back From This. But Bill, you are. Love that. Thanks so much indeed to Izzy, Phil, and of course Bill. And of course that round of applause goes out to you three. Ah, what a fantastic, fantastic night. Yes.
Goodbye, goodbye, it's time to run.
So long, farewell.
And that's me done for the evening. A little later than planned, but I think you will agree what a great night we've had. Okay, Damien Mann's the other side of me.
When do I get my badge?
Bang bump goes the beat.
And we've got a constant barrage of great music coming up.
To start off the tree.
I'll see you next week, 7 o'clock. And we're going to do this all again, but with the Electric Stars.
A nice time round.
And for those that are really into the Velvet Elvis, I've got a special treat at the other end of my 2-hour show. That's next week from 7. See you soon. Take care.
Get the eyes of the nice time cat blinking gaily at the
And we're back, yes. And what did you think of that for an interview? Wasn't it great? We found out so much. Anyway, thank you very much indeed for joining us for the Target Radio podcast. I am your pod father. That is me, Cookie. Don't forget to rate us on iTunes if you can, please. If you think we deserve it, 5 stars, please. It does help with the future of Target Radio. Check out all of our great shows here on Target Radio. And as I say, please, please, please support local artists and the unsigned band. Until next time, thank you very much indeed. Take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.